Easy Sports Talk Show with Javon Adams, with Ed Smith and Javon Adams. My name is Javon Adams. You can call me Jay or J Love. That man beside me is the one and only Ed Smith. He not only played professional baseball, but also played in the National Football League for that first Super Bowl bound team for the Atlanta Falcons. He is an author. He is also a motivational speaker. What is good, my brother?
Like somebody took the bottle off the top of that bottle last night, bro. I mean,
Did
football is official. No, I'm saying officially.
Oh, okay.
Football is officially here. I mean, for the next 6 months, however it is, it all started, man. You know,
you like a kid in the
good
candy
to see
store
it.
right now. You like a kid in
Well,
the candy store, man.
the real thing, like Sunday, that's when it's real. I mean,
Yeah.
we get the opening game, but Sunday, bro, it's like you might as well be, the stock market. You know, they got all the TVs and everything. Might as well be like that up in here, bro.
Yeah, so let's get to it. We do this thing 3 times a week: Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We also do another podcast that's Believe in the Arizona Cardinals. Believe in the Arizona Cardinals. The newest episode is out, but that'll be every Monday and Thursday. So so make sure you tell a friend about that as well. But let's get into it. So the Ravens and the Chiefs. All right. The reason that the Chiefs won 27-20, and we're going to kind of get into this, and I want your thoughts on the game. But what do we have instant replay for? Instant replay is there to make sure we get the call right. Okay. So unless it's really something where maybe it's the tuck rule or it's something that it's kind of nebulous, where the ball is obscured and there's a fumble and you don't know did it, and so you kind of try to look at all the different angles and you go forwards and backwards and try to figure it out. Now, that's one thing, right? The other thing is likely the wide receiver for Baltimore, his foot was on the line. It touched the line ever so briefly, but there's a story that's on ESPN right now where the Ravens are saying, no, that should have been a touchdown. No, it shouldn't have been because his foot was on the line.
I mean, that's why we have instant replay. There's no other way. And obviously they're going to have sour grapes because you were that close to potentially winning the game, because it looked like Harbaugh was going to go for 2 if that was a touchdown.
I want to ask you, I'm going to come back to that in a second, but go ahead, keep going.
But so, I mean, you were that close. And, this is your nemesis, the foe you just cannot seem to get the better of. And so, and then it's opening night, they unveiled another Super Bowl banner. So there's all this stuff going on. And in the end, like I said, you were that close. Of course, you're going to have bitter beer face. And like I said, you looked at it when they first showed it, I was like, nah, that's a touchdown. And then when they zeroed down, I was like, oh, you can see the foot on the white. And it's like, I mean, that's why you have instant replay for those type of plays. But now, isn't it funny, that, Jay, that you flash back 20 years and that would have just been something, even though they had the cameras, because we didn't have instant replay, it'd been like, well, it's a touchdown. They call it a touchdown. What can you do?
Touchdown. Yeah.
And now technology tells you that's not a touchdown.
It's the Eddie Murphy, I forget whether it was Raw or Delirious, but where it wasn't me. No, but I saw you. Wasn't me. Wasn't me. That's how the Ravens are acting, as if that was a touchdown. No. Yeah. I'm going to show you. I'm going to zoom in. Here is the toe on the line. I don't care. That's a touchdown, dog.
Yeah.
So
I mean, what are they going to do now? You're going to appeal? I mean, well,
If anything, you think they would have been upset about maybe it made an excuse. Well, a couple plays before, somebody was holding me, that and the other, as opposed to saying that particular play was a touchdown when we all saw that it wasn't.
Yeah, and the reality too, that hurts. You ask the question: would you rather get blown out or lose one of those like that? Because you actually think about the role of emotions, Jay. For a split second, you're like, man, we're going for 2. We can win this one. And it's like, nah, you didn't even get a chance. That's Kansas City win right there. So it wasn't even, you didn't even have a chance for a do-over because it was the very last play of the game. That's what, there's all kind of factors that will run, like I said, will be in the back of the minds of Baltimore and their fans. And we all know that this game, even though it's game 1 of 264 or however many we played nowadays, this game will come back to be a factor down the road. This could determine home field advantage, the number 1 seed, something. This one win, this one game could be a factor all the way down the road in January, and that's going to tick the Baltimore fans and that team off all the way through.
Yes, sir. So you mentioned something that I want to get into a bit. So if you were Harbaugh, and if you were, let's say, if you were in that situation, would you have automatically said we're going for two? I would think no. Let's go for one. If we got to go into overtime, we'll figure it out. We're gonna do what we do. But what were your thoughts in real time when you saw that if the touchdown had been confirmed that he was going to go for two?
I love it. What? Let me ask you a question, Jay.
Okay.
What'd you go out and get Derrick Henry for? To team him up with
Ooh,
Lamar
okay.
Jackson, and you can't get 3 yards. Yeah, I mean, I know. Here's the thing: every good coach and coordinator, they have those 2-point plays tucked away, a play or two that they have not shown all game long, just for that situation right there. They couldn't wait. And once that was called a touchdown, they were like, we got this. I guarantee you, they had the play ready to go, and that's why he was so adamant. Because you good coaches and teams and organizations like Belichick, remember, there wasn't a scenario they weren't ready for. A lot of times, what happens, you get to that point and you're looking around, it's like confusion on the sideline. Are we going? Are we not going? And then it's like frantic.
Right.
He put those fingers up right away because they had the discussion and had the plan. If we don't know if it's going to happen, but if it comes down to play for the win or go for the tie, we're going for the win. They were prepared for that. And the old adage is you play for the tie at home because you're home. You play for the win on the road because you want to get it and get the heck out of there.
Gotcha.
And I love the fact that it wasn't anybody looking around. As soon as it was thought a touchdown, 2 fingers went up because they were ready. And I guarantee you they had a play that was set just for that. And how do you stop? And I know you're like, well, they stopped them throughout the game. Man, there was a couple times, like a 4th down. I think there was one when it was like, what do? You have to attack Derrick Henry because he's going downhill. And I mean, your boy Lamar was out the backside so fast it wasn't even funny. I guarantee you they had something ready to go, and it could have been a run pass option, something. But I love the fact that they were aggressive and wanted to get it and get out of there. And you ain't got to go home. We got to get the hell out of here. That's what they were saying.
Is that the mark of a well-coached team, a well-prepared team? When you mentioned that they were without hesitation going for it, because I can think of some teams here in our backyard in previous regimes where it would have been looking around to figure out. So is that the mark of a good team, or can there be well-coached teams that are maybe still operating on emotion and making and kind of hemming and hawing when it comes to the final say?
Now I know Harbaugh. I played under him. He's a special teams guy. And what you've seen from him over the course of all these years, they are one of the most well-run and organized and prepared organizations out there. And I guarantee you, like I said, they were ready to go. In a lot of instances, what would have happened, Jay? Everybody would start looking around, and all of a sudden we got called timeout. Timeout. So we got to talk. We got to talk about this. We got to think about this. You didn't even want Kansas City would have been the one calling the timeout because Kansas City would have been. What are they doing? I'm not saying probably just so they could have their number one guys up and ready to go.
Right.
Kansas City is as prepared. They had been ready to go as well. But if anybody was going to be calling a timeout, it would have been Kansas City because Baltimore was ready. They were prepared. Had the scenario thought out. No need for a timeout. Let's go. We're gonna win this one. I love that. And as I mentioned, you said we have teams in our backyard. They'd have been dropping their papers on the ground, the sheets and all that kind of stuff. What are we doing? They had 13 men on the field, or 9 men on the field because nobody was ready.
Yeah. So, overall, what were your thoughts on the Ravens and the Chiefs? I mean, what is it? Xavier Worthy was noteworthy. No pun intended, because maybe bringing a little bit more speed back to the Chiefs. George, what am I saying? Not George, but Henry. He 46 yards, but Lamar Jackson, 120 yards rushing, and then plus he had the long touchdown throw to what I think it was Likely that had the touchdown
Yeah.
reception. But your thoughts, just on both sides of the ball in terms of for how these teams played in game one.
I think Kansas City. It wasn't a flawless game. It was
Yeah,
sloppy, but it's game one. As we noted, not everybody's playing a lot of time in the preseason. Kansas City did though, and Baltimore takes it serious as well. So we probably saw one of the better games of the weekend, not just the matchup, but there was no. I'll say this much. What
yeah,
about the thing where they kept calling an illegal procedure for the tackles? I don't know if you saw it. There was like 4 or 5 penalties. They're getting on the tackles. You know, they usually bow back a little bit
yeah.
when they're off the line. They called 4 or 5 times illegal procedure tackle off the line, and that was almost like, hey, we're going to make this an emphasis, and they want their butts up on the line. No more are they going to allow them to be way back and basically
Yeah.
almost sitting in the backfield.
Especially because that's what the linemen for Kansas City were doing quite a bit. Kind of
Well,
almost.
Kansas City, they go double whammy on you because not only are they off, they jump early too. They're
Yeah.
ahead of. This was literally just alignment. They weren't getting off the ball early. They were lining up with their head not on the backside of the center. So they were just lined up, in normal and weren't jumping early. They were just, it was the alignment. And they called it several times. I think 3 or 4 times in the first 2 drives. So this was the emphasis. So we'll see. And this is gonna, I guess that was an alert for every team. We're gonna make this an emphasis. So you don't want to be a half an inch off the line of scrimmage and this big play gets called back because they're going to force these guys to make an adjustment, and it's going to be uncomfortable from the tackles because we know the reason they like to get off because they're dealing with all this speed from these edge rushers and stuff like that, and they want to make the corner a little deeper for them to get around. And the referees and umpires and line judges, nah. We were told to make this an emphasis, so we're gonna make your butts get up there on the line. So that was interesting. I did think both teams couldn't have a better matchup for me because I know both of these teams well prepared, good standalone game. Mahomes was doing his thing. They looked like they could three-peat. We'll see because it's a long season and there's many a slip between the cup and the lip. We'll see what happens along the way. But they, good opening game, and I like the excitement at the end. Especially with that, the toe deciding everything. In the back of your mind, you're like, man, if he would have got that toe in, I would love to see them go for 2 because that would have made it even more exciting. But yeah, it was a good game for me.
The Derrick Henry is in that. What is it? Am I thinking Adrian Peterson? No, Adrian Peterson. Yeah, that what 8 yards deep. That type of running back. Can that be an issue with teams? I mean, when you were playing, did you the running back that's not so deep? It seems like they get an opportunity for the play to develop, and they may be able to make some cuts. Maybe I guess the positive side for somebody like Derrick Henry is he's able to really see the hole and maybe try to accelerate and hit the hole. Does that give you any type of pause for the Ravens based upon how they play or the running backs that they've had in their system over the years, especially under Harbaugh?
It would only make me pause a little bit if the Ravens don't make the proper adjustment. And here's where they have an issue. Lamar Jackson, which a lot of these quarterbacks, we have one out here in Arizona, as we know, prefers to work out of the shotgun.
Right.
So that makes it, instead of being under center and Henry getting a full head of steam downfield, picking whichever hole he's going to be going through, but getting that, it's almost like the juggernaut. If you watch the Marvel comics and stuff like that, Juggernaut. Once he gets started, you can't stop him. The problem is he has to get it started, and with the read option with Lamar being in shotgun, it's a snap, then it's a read. He doesn't even know when he's getting the ball sometimes because they got to do the mesh and all that. when I'm telling you, when we would be in a huddle, and this is back in the day when we'd have a fullback and everything, and you heard 76 power or whatever it was, you knew that was power. You knew Jamal Anderson or whoever it was 7 deep, and you better get a hole open somewhere. Otherwise, you're gonna have a whole lot of a black man up your butt, running up your butt, because I mean, he's coming downhill, no
Yeah.
picking spots and stuff like that. And I think the conflict is going to be, do you sacrifice and put Lamar under center a lot more so you can utilize the effectiveness or the best way to use Derrick Henry, or do you let Lamar be comfortable, and that's going to take away a little bit of the effectiveness of Derrick Henry because he's not a read option guy. He's a downhill, get him going type of guy. So that's where they're going to, have an issue. Now, I mean, if you put Lamar on the center and then run it all the time, then that's going to be a tell. So they're going to have to mix it up a little bit. Yeah, you got to get him under center and do some play action. You got to get him under center and do some
drop
stretch,
backs.
some drop back, that type of thing. So that'll be something that I guarantee you the defensive coordinators, they're going to be watching that over the next 2 to 3 weeks to find those tendencies, and they're going to sit on it. So I'm glad I didn't pick Derek in my fantasy drafts because there's going to be that issue. Now, here's the thing. There are going to be games when Lamar has 120 or close to it like he did yesterday, and Derek's going to have his 45 or 50. But there are also going to be a couple games where Lamar might have 50, 55, and Derek's going to have like a 140, 160. So don't get it twisted. They'll get it figured out. Every team is not the Kansas City Chiefs. They're not playing the Kansas City Chiefs 17 times on their schedule. There are going to be some teams they're going to punish with the run coming up. So they'll figure it out. That was just game one.
So let's get believe. Easy Sports Talk Show. Ed Smith and Javon Adams again 3 times a week is when we do this: Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So with the we have a Friday night game, we have Sunday night, which is more of the schedule, and then we have, of course, Monday night. Is there a game or two that sticks out to you that you'll definitely have maybe the bigger screen ready for it when that game is on?
Let me grab my sheet here. Let me see. So obviously we got the Friday game tonight. I will be interested in. Obviously, we're going to watch the Cardinals go over and take on Buffalo. I will be interested to see what Caleb Williams looks like in his home opener. Chicago has Tennessee coming in. 2 young quarterbacks there. Detroit and the Rams. I think that's a rematch of a playoff game last year when wild card. I think it was divisional. Wouldn't be wild card when the Rams went over and lost to Detroit. You got the return of Stafford going back over there for his second taste of "We hate you, Matt Stafford." How could you leave us? I mean, golly, the man went to better pastures. You got golf. Feel happy about that. No, they cussing his wife and kids and stuff like that. Bad. San Francisco and the Jets on Monday night. That'll be an interesting one as well. And then one more for you.
Let's stop at that San Francisco Jets. So I want to ask you this. So this kind of goes with what I was going to just ask you off the cuff. I was thinking as I was coming back in before our show today. So Brock Purdy, young quarterback. We all know Mr. Irrelevant, all that. And I want to keep this to football. When can you say a player is great? Not just good, not a great talent, but when can you say somebody is great? And the reason I ask is because oftentimes I think that word great is thrown out so easily. It's thrown out so often these days when it comes to, I understand if you're the difference between, let's say, me and a Deebo Samuels, he's great compared to me, right? But I'm talking about when compared to your peers, when everybody's essentially on the same level, you're all professional NFL professional football players. So what I would hate to think that it's a championship that makes somebody great. Is it consistency? I'm just curious because when it's thrown out, so I heard as people have been talking about Jordan Love and him, this is the second season of starting, and oftentimes I hear this great young quarterback. Is he great or is he this talented young quarterback? Is Brock Purdy an extremely talented, surprising talent, is whatever it is. But I was just curious if you had an idea of what, when you are able, when Ed Smith, when Easy is able to say that's a great player right there.
Jay, you said perfectly. The word is thrown around too much these days. Um, and we're both basically married men, right?
Yeah,
I, but let's go back to the day when we were younger and standing in the club, right? And you'd be, and you see a couple come in, you'd be like, look, that looks pretty good right there, a little head turner and everything like that. We
yeah.
all knew every now and then there'd be one that walked in, and every dude in the club was like, damn, right? But at the same time,
True.
there was a whole bunch that were like really good, very nice looking young ladies, right?
Yes, yes,
There was
yes.
there's a difference between good and damn. And what happens is we want to make every quarterback now, if they have a good stretch or whatever, we want damn, nah, they're very good, very good. Patrick Mahomes is damn. That's
Right,
damn. And then there's a whole bunch of dudes that are very good. We're already comparing Patrick Mahomes to the GOAT. Yeah, that doesn't happen. I mean, who else are we doing that with? So he's in a category by himself. You look at some of these other quarterbacks, very good. And we know their ceilings. Brock Purdy,
yeah,
as long as you keep talent around him, keep the cupboard, full, he's going to be very serviceable. If you took and put him in Carolina or even I don't know anywhere else, he would be hard pressed to
right,
not just be on the verge of getting this huge contract. He'd be hard pressed to keep a job in some instances because
right,
he can't carry the load, but he can sure help you if you got a whole bunch of other dudes to chip in. He can be there, and then some of these other quarterbacks, C.J. Stroud, Love. I mean, you run down the list of them. Josh Allen, very, very good, but not damn. And we need to quit throwing it around there so easily, like all these quarterbacks are great. No, they're not. They're very good, and then you got the one who could eventually be the best to ever play the game, and he's showing you how many different ways he can win. So let's stop throwing it around out there like every one of these quarterbacks is him, and it's
right,
so easy to just be in that category. No, it's not. You have the great ones, and I mean, you think about it, Jay. When you start with your list of greatest of all time, we don't just like there's like 10 of them currently playing. No, you like Mahomes, Brady's retired, um, Montana, Elway. We're going back
yeah,
generations to create that list. So that means, well, wait a minute. What about Burrow and Tua and they're very good quarterbacks of their generation right now. They are
yeah,
not of that other category. So I think we have to be careful about how we throw that around and realize what we see when we see it. And everybody's not built to be Patrick Mahomes or for right now Tom Brady. I mean, he even separated himself from the likes of Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees. He was in a category of his own even then, doing with other great, very good quarterbacks around him during his time. So it's like I said, we just got to stop throwing it around like it's just this bevy of quarterbacks that are just so great right now. No, they're real good. They're real good.
Oh, cool. So, Easy Sports Talk Show, Ed Smith and Javon Adams. So you were mentioning, you said the San Francisco and Jets is one. Was there another one?
I'm interested to see Atlanta what they look like against Pittsburgh, and that's for two reasons. I want to see what obviously it's one of my old organizations, but they've
Mm-hmm.
been screaming for a long time trying to get a quarterback there. Matt Ryan was there for a long time. You got all these weapons. You bring in Kirk Cousins, he could be the stopgap to And here's the thing. They could be a team that gets you 12, 13 wins in that division. If they're playing another division, it might not be that easy to do, but they could be a 1 or 2 seed just because they might run roughshod through that division. Kirk Cousins with all those weapons around him, and then on the other side, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Russell Wilson. Is he as far off the pedestal as we
From
think
from
he
what the
is.
preseason was saying, from what the preseason results were, he seen maybe he is cooked, and not
He
let him
could
cook,
be.
but maybe he is cooked.
Well, what's interesting is I don't know if you saw it. He's dealing with that calf again already.
Man.
So I mean, this could be the end of the end for him. Which would how far have has he fallen from grace, man? I mean, just a few years ago, he's on the fast track to Hall of Fame career and this, that, and the other, and we're now wondering whether he can. You look at his age and you're thinking, wow, Brady did like mid-40s, and we thought Russell was going to be one of those guys that would be around late 30s, early 40s, breaking records, winning, a late Super Bowl or two or stuff like that. He might be out
Yeah.
of the league or backing somebody up the rest of his career, and it's only 2024. So, yeah, I'm interested to see how he plays, how quick of a hook they might have for him, and also, like I said, what's happening on the other side, because they got high hopes in Atlanta with Kirk Cousins.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. So that is the one and only Ed Smith. I'm Javon Adams. Tell a friend to tell a friend about what we have going on. Also, again, we do the Believe in the Arizona Cardinals podcast. You can go to believe.com, search Arizona Cardinals, or wherever you find your podcast, just search BLEAV in the Arizona Cardinals. And for us here go and subscribe to our YouTube channel at The Easy Sports Talk Show, at The Easy Sports Talk Show. You can go to easysportstalk.com, easysportstalk.com, or wherever you get your podcast, just type in The Easy Sports Talk Show with Ed Smith and Javon Adams. And as we always like to say around this time, are you can